Yo, dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. Today, we're going to be doing an oh shit edition of painting. You ever paint a model, make it look super sick, and then realize you got to make some changes to the base because it's made of pewter and it might have a slotted base? I'm just asking for a friend. Here it is, Breachstorm on deck, new Kickstarter coming out this summer, September, all day, every day. This is the Rifleman right here. We painted him live on Twitch. I'm going to show you how I'm going to get him off his base after deciding he needs to be on a resin base. We're going to first gloss varnish him. We're going to put a little bit of gloss varnish in our airbrush with a little airbrush thinner. I almost said flowing purple because we almost never use the thinner, but when I use a gloss varnish like this or a primer, I like to use airbrush thinner. Instead, it helps it dry faster. Here we go. We're going to do a couple of spritzes here. It's thinned down, so it's not going to build up too much. We're going to just get all the angles, get them nice and shiny. This is mainly to protect him because I'm going to be sort of ham-fisting this guy. I'm going to have my hands all up in this dude's business as we break him off this base. He's a pewter master from Breachstorm. They sent me to paint. And I need to somehow get him off this base. But hey, let's stay busy in the Beats Lab. I still got a little bit of this gloss varnish in the brush. Let's go back to this Plague Prince from Spellcrow. And let's just spray a little bit of shine on his gut. Maybe his face. No, literally, waste not, want not in the Beats Lab. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to give us a fun little extra effect. So here we go. Here he is. We let him dry up. He's fully protected. I'm wearing 2 sets of gloves to minimize my skin contact, all that oil. We're going to just start snapping the base, breaking it off the metal slot, working it back and forth till I make sure most of it's off. We're going to use these clippers, and we're going to just start destroying the base. We're going to get him off that base in just metal slots. Now here's the thing. I know no matter how careful I am here, we're going to peel some of the paint off. It's inevitable. Luckily, I have some pro tips for fixing pewter models, resin models, that you basically scrape paint all the way back down to the pewter or resin on. So once we get most of this off, we're going to get access to this slot. That's when the magic's going to start happening. We're going to finally get them off this slot. We're going to use the clippers. We're going to basically make it easy on ourselves by clipping it down, using our strength to press real hard, get it snapped, make it 2 small pieces. We're going to put the flat edge up on these clippers, right up against his foot. We're going to make it as flush as possible and try to get almost all of it off with 1 clip. And if there's any left over, we'll just use our X-Acto knife to clean it up. It's no big deal, guys. Here it is. Pop it off. Now, here, like I said, there's almost no way we're going to get this shit off of him without taking some of that red paint with it. It's inevitable. He's just got too much glue, too much of the base primer connected, and we need to make a nice clean transfer to his base. So yeah, you see, we definitely took a bunch of red with it. No big deal. We're just going to clean it up a little bit, pull out a file if you need to. X-Acto knife is pretty much all you really need. I'm sure you guys know how to hobby. Here we go. Surface primer, Vallejo. I'm going to paintbrush this on. Raw dog out the pot, no water. We're just going to dab it on and conceal the metal. You see what we're doing there? We're basically letting it overlap just a little bit with the paint so that it can sort of blend together. We're going to let it dry entirely, and then we're going to feather back in some reds. But make sure you get rid of all of the metal. You don't want to be trying to paint straight up like Mephiston red or whatever over pewter. It's not going to look right, especially since all of this red was built up over blacks. It was a pre-shade technique. We did it on Twitch. You definitely want to check out the VODs. They are on Patreon right now. It was a fun workup. We actually worked them up from black to green to white to get a very natural, kind of candy-ish red with a sweet highlight workup. Anyway, guys, here we go. We're going to take our little pin vise, and we're going to quickly drill a little hole in the bottom of his foot after all that primer dries. We're trying to stabilize him as much as we can. We're using our gloves. We're manhandling his leg. We're putting a lot of pressure on him to get this hole. This is why we varnished him, and this is also why I'm wearing gloves. This is, like I said, the oh shit edition. I fucked up. So here's another little trick. Now that we got that hole, I'm going to just rim it with the black primer, which I still have a little bit on the table. You could use anything. It doesn't need to be black primer. It could be red. And the whole reason we're doing this is just to figure out exactly where we're going to drill on the base. I already kind of figured out where I wanted to stand on this base, the Secret Whip Miniatures base. We painted these last year, maybe even 2 years ago. So I'm going to wobble them back and forth so some of that paint will transfer to the base, so I know roughly where the hole in his foot is. Therefore, I know where to put the hole in the base. We're going to just drill it out super quick. We're going to go all the way through. Too easy. Now, I do have a bunch of paper clips. What I like to do is get a little super glue out. I'm going to roll a paper clip piece in the glue. These paper clips match my drill bit, and we're going to let it fully cure inside his foot hole. And you'll notice that the length that we cut out is much longer than the base is, and that's fine. We want him to be super secure on this base. All right, now that that's dry, we're going to roll his foot around in it, get all the glue on his business. Mainly, this pin is going to be what's holding him on the base, but we do want his feet to be nice and secure. Here we go. We're going to try to get that, basically thread it right now, get the angle right. Sometimes you have to kind of bend it once you get it in there because, you know, it's hard to predict these angles. So we're going to bend the model over, kind of torque the paper clip, and then we're going to hold him until he dries. He's looking solid. Now we're going to take some red, whatever red we use, which is actually Vallejo red. We're going to thin it down to a glaze, and we're going to glaze it over the black primer that we use to conceal the resin. We're going to do several thin coats, and this is exactly how we did the red workup. It was actually appreciated and it was glazed over. So this is going to look perfect. This is going to seamlessly blend in with what we've done, as long as you make sure it's fully thinned down and that you take your time blending it together. Very natural, very clean. He's looking money. Love this color combo. We basically copied the box art, gave himself some interesting highlights. We actually used a bunch of skin tone, ancient Chinese technique workups. You don't see me doing that often this year. Usually we work orange into the red. All right, real quick, take some of that black primer. We're going to rim the base real quick with the black. I like to use primer for this because it's stronger and the rims on bases get dinged up real easy. Here we go. Lusterless Flat Model Masters. This is a tester's product. This is the best matte varnish in the game. We varnished him so that we can knock that gloss down. He's looking his absolute best. Oh shit. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.